What's up, y'all?
Hey.
It's like that one.
Yeah.
Who should lead since we're doing two channels kind of thing?
We should what?
Who should lead?
Oh, yeah. Just whoever feels inspired.
I can lead.
Go for it. Yeah.
I don't have
Just
the
like you got the channel?
Yeah. What's up, y'all? It is Mick
Yakub.
And Hyatt.
and we're here bringing you some real info on our personal experiences throughout life and just some stuff we want to talk about today.
Where we at, Mick?
We at Woodstock Fruit
Yeah.
Festival. Oh my God, it's my first time. These
wow.
guys are the OGs.
My second time.
Yeah. So,
First time volunteering, so that's a whole nother level. Yeah,
right on. I'll have to volunteer next year.
yeah, man, for sure.
It's worth it.
Yeah. Cool. Well,
Yeah, I
just
think
jump right into it.
yeah, we really wanted to get into maybe just all around cleansing and especially fasting, because we've all done at least some sort of fasting before, and just kind of speak on our experience on that.
Yeah. So maybe like, what kind of fasting have you done recently?
Yeah, so before I came to the Fruit Fest, I did a 14-day juice cleanse, and honestly, I am not as experienced in fasting as these two, but yeah, the juice cleanse was epic. You know, you feel so good, and like you can just feel everything that's going on in your body, and yeah, it's amazing to not have all this like heavy stuff and all this stuff that's like going straight to your brain, fogging you up, and
Cool.
all that.
Yeah. And what about you? What kind of fasting?
Me, I also did a juice fast this past winter, so I did it sounds crazy because it's a 90-day juice fast, but I didn't go into it to do 90 days of juice, you know, I just went one day at a time, focus on cleansing, and I was really just paying attention what was coming out, and it wasn't until I was satisfied that like what's coming out doesn't look dirty anymore that I was like ready to stop, you know, it wasn't any set goals of time.
Yeah.
That's what I recommend people, is to not set like a time, just kind of like play with it.
Yeah.
If you fall off and you eat some food, maybe a couple days later try it again, a few days, and
Yeah.
that's kind of like, I got a taste for it that way, like over a month of playing with it, a couple of days here, a couple of days there, and then like I felt ready like to start a juice fast, and ideally I wanted to go the distance, meaning like until I was clean,
Yeah.
but I was happy if I did 10 days or whatever. I was just like, I just want to try this out, you know.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
And then yourself?
Yeah, I've done, I guess it was this spring, I did 82 days. And that was a juice fast with like herbal teas and tinctures. Yeah, and a similar thing, like I didn't have a specific number of days set in mind. I just wanted to go until I was clean. And that never actually ended up happening, even towards 82 days. Probably around like day 60, I started telling myself like, okay, like it'll be all out of me by day 80. Like I'll be good then, you know? And so I almost got that mental structure set up so that by the time day 80 did come around and I wasn't done, I was already kind of excited about eating fruit again. And so I went ahead and ended it. But along the way, I had a lot of great experiences that I have gained a lot of insight and sensitivities into my body about. Yeah, so definitely juice fasting in general is like one of the easier methods of fasting, you know, because you got the different plateaus where it's kind of like you can just eat fruit, mono meals, and then into like juices, you know, and then water fasting, dry fasting, you know, and each one is a little different, but with the juice you're still getting all the sugar and nutrients.
Yeah,
so.
sure.
With the juice, it's like you can kind of go about your daily life and have the energy.
Right.
Whereas water fast, what I hear, because I've never done any hardcore water fast, is that you need to kind of take a break from life so you can just focus on resting, because your body's really like really needs the rest to recover, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of detoxing really quick. So
Yeah. So on 14 days, did you experience any intense detoxification like things?
Yeah, I mean, nothing incredibly intense,
Yeah.
but during the fast, I was staying with my friend Victoria. She's got a big greenhouse, and then I was helping her out with it. And yeah, after the first week or so, it was definitely like I could tell that my body was a little sluggish, and I didn't have a lot of energy. And I would walk 2.5 miles there and back every morning.
Yeah.
And so that was, you know, becoming like more of a struggle. And
Yeah,
then like
yeah.
working, I was doing a lot of like work trying to build beds, like the pickaxe and pretty much rock ground. And so yeah, I was getting tired a lot easier just because, you know, it's all coming out, kind of going into the bloodstream and lymph and all that.
Totally,
And,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, kind of, yeah, it's just something you go through, but it's a good thing. You know, whenever I'm feeling that, I'm like, okay, this is good.
Yeah. And you said that was that was towards the beginning of the fast, or?
That was more towards the end. I felt
Towards
really
the end?
good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see,
Yeah, so.
and I've noticed that whenever I do any fast, is that in the beginning, it seems like you feel
Really
like,
good.
yeah, really high
Yeah,
energy, and then once you start getting more deep into detox, then you've got a period of like, yeah.
Now this is a question that I'm interested in, because you said at the end of 2 weeks you started feeling weaker. Whereas I thought on a juice fast, like the longer you go, the more energy you feel.
Yeah.
But for me, it was also a struggle the first couple weeks.
Yeah.
But the question, like a lot of people ask me, what did I drink? Was it fruit or vegetables? So I'm interested.
Yeah.
What did you drink? Were you focused on fruit, vegetable, or like, you know, what were you focused on?
Yeah, I was focused on my budget and saving money.
Yeah, man. So,
but also, I don't know, like veggies, you know, veggies are cheap and all that. I could have done that, but honestly, my body just really wanted simple juices, and for me, pretty much the whole juice fast was pretty much all melons, watermelon, some sugar kiss, which was like the best.
yeah.
And
Oranges?
no, sugar kiss
it's
melon.
like a cantaloupe variety.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
and cantaloupe juice. That's mostly everything that I had. And I tried a bunch of stuff because it was my first time on a long juice fast. So I was like, cherry juice.
Yeah. I saw a post you made about making cherry juice.
It was good.
The next day, because I was juicing too at that
Oh,
time.
nice.
I went and bought some cherries, and I was like,
Nice.
you know,
Yeah, but-
deep hitting them, and it took so long, but it was worth
did.
it. It was
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you a question.
Okay.
You know, Hyatt was talking about like experiencing kind of like cyclical nature of feeling good, and then having kind of some depressions of like detox symptoms. Did you experience a similar thing, like in terms of like ups and downs?
I definitely did, yes.
Definitely did.
For the first few weeks, yeah. It was like, I took a lot of time to just like rest, and like, I was lucky enough to work from home remotely, so I got to make my juices, and if I didn't feel good, I just like put on like some inspiring movie and just chilled out. I ignored my friends for like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
It was literally like day 20 something that I was finally like, all right, I finally felt like I was ready to go out into the world and like go to potlucks and bring my juice.
Yeah.
But before that, I just kind of wanted to avoid everyone. And like, I watched John Rose, and he says like after a couple of days, certain amount of days, you kind of get this energy, you feel amazing. And I was like frustrated, like, where is that for me? Why is it not happening?
Yeah. It just shows that we're all in such different places, you know, because like when I was doing mine for probably the first 30 days, I was very, very, very physically active.
Okay.
And like it got to a point where like seriously on day 30, like I just had this, you know, wave of like this like intuition come to me like, hey, you need to chill out, you know, like you're doing a cleanse, like you're trying to heal your body, stop exercising so hard. Maybe I could have kept doing light things, but I pretty much just stopped all physical activity. And like right at day 30, like I was feeling all really, really, really good up to then. Right when I stopped moving, like boom, all the detox symptoms came. And then I started going into like more cycles because I was, you know, resting, and I lost, you know, tons of weight really quickly, all at that moment. And then like, yeah, and didn't like really get a lot of energy until the end, really, towards the end of the fast, the last few weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
You felt like high energy?
Yeah, definitely. Because that's when like once things started getting clearer, not as much elimination happening. Yeah.
See, that's interesting. I guess everyone's journey is different, because for me, first month I was still like always up and down. I swear until day 40. I feel like day 40 I passed like a hump, and that's when I started getting more active. And between day 40 and day 80 is when I was going to the gym like 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And I also kind of like, I just set a routine, and I was like, all right, just go every time. Like I would go regularly, and I started building muscle, because I kind of wanted to prove that on a juice fast you could build muscle.
That's cool.
But I also felt my body telling me like, dude, you should chill out, you need to rest. But I just like wanted to prove the world, you know?
Yeah. I
So it
think
was
that's
around day 83 where I kind of hit a wall. And it's not like people like, oh yeah, you're weak from the juices. I was like, no, it's because I was trying to juice and go to work and work out, and then I would try to volunteer at a meditation activity, and then that volunteering activity kind of like crossed the line, and I just kind of hit a wall. And like you on day 30, I just let go of everything. Like since then I haven't picked up the gym regularly. I just like really focusing on resting, because even though I'm not juice fasting now, I'm still focusing on cleansing and healing. So I'm just like, instead of running, I'm like, I'll just go for a walk, or just take it easy. I'll go to the gym, but I'll use the sauna and hot tub and just like chill out, you know, nowadays.
Nice. So I'm curious about your bowel movements, like after a while, because I didn't have, you know, anything crazy come out of me on 14 days. So I was curious if you guys had anything, you know, crazy coming out, and when that started to happen.
14 days, I think it was.
Oh yeah?
I swear it was day 14.
Where
like all the stuff came out.
Day 18.
Day 18?
Day 18.
I think it was day 14 around. And like it was like 2 layers kind of. So I was talking to John Rose, is that like the large intestine stuff and then the small intestine stuff look like it? Because like 2 pounds, like it was so much. I was like, I couldn't believe.
Differentiate the color and stuff like that.
And the
shapes.
different texture. I was like, whoa, this is amazing. And then since like that day, I started taking pictures of my bowels.
Yeah,
and
man,
like,
you showed them
just
to me.
interesting stuff.
We've seen them.
I've seen it.
So I was like fascinated that it wasn't until 2 weeks that like significant stuff came out, you know.
And were you taking any like psyllium husk?
Actually, I was. I can't pinpoint exactly the date, though I have all the data written down, but I was taking psyllium husk a lot of the time. So that kind of sucks for credibility, because people be like, oh, that's just a psyllium husk. But like, I swear sometimes I would see psyllium husk, but then like in it I would see this mucus stuff, and like I know that's not the psyllium husk, you know. You saw my pictures. Like,
I as well took psyllium husk for the first 30 days.
Okay.
And so after 30 days I stopped, because I had done a juice fast in the past without it, and I was like, why not? You know, I've heard a lot of things about this. I'm gonna try this. And also I was doing the herbs and tinctures, you know, so that was new compared to my previous juice fast. And for me, like, I had to pretty much like use enemas a lot of the time. I would say like twice a week, definitely, if not closer to like every day at certain points. Because, you know, I've heard from John Rose and some other people, if you're not having a bowel movement each day, you know, you should create a bowel movement. And the only way I wouldn't take like relaxative herbs, I would rather just irrigate with water. Yeah, but I mean, in terms of like the bowel movements themselves, like I had like stuff, like a lot of stuff, you know, coming out of me the entire time. You know, large bowel movements the entire time. And, you know, at the beginning, the first 30 days, probably the first 50 days, I would say, there was psyllium husk coming out of me. And to find like the nastier, like hardened mucus stuff, I'd have to dig through it. You know, but then I stopped the psyllium husk, and eventually like that stopped coming out, and it was just juice fiber and hardened mucus until the end.
To me, I use the psyllium husk, like you said, to make sure I was having bowel movements. Because when I tried, when I didn't have it sometimes, I wouldn't have a bowel movement, and I felt like my digestion didn't feel right. I didn't feel good, and I was kind of
feel bad, you know.
And I would feel really bad, and like I really would want to poop, but like I couldn't. But the thing is, John Rose, because I worked with him, would tell me that maybe it's because I wasn't drinking enough volume. But when I felt in those states, when I got in those states where my my digestion was like kind of feeling bad. I didn't want to drink because I felt like I just wanted to rest.
It like hurts
So
to
it's
put more juice on top of that.
Yeah, but really now in hindsight, I think I could have just like
Gone for
forced
it.
a little bit more juice.
Yeah, you
Maybe it would have been
pushed it
uncomfortable a
out.
bit, but it would have pushed stuff out.
Yeah.
So in hindsight, I would have did that instead of taking more psyllium husks, you know? That's what's tricky. That's what supporting the organs of elimination is all about, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And like I definitely noticed a difference in taking tinctures and herbs as well. You know, I could feel the, because the tinctures that I took were, you know, lymphatic support, kidney support, bowel support, you know. So it was just excretory systems, supporting those so that they can function, you know, at an optimal level. And overall, I felt best like after taking those things. I can notice the difference.
I feel like that's what I'll do for my next juice fast.
Yeah.
Take
Yeah,
some
and
herbs.
I've reserved the herbs for fasting because I don't want my body to adapt to like getting support from these herbs, and I'd rather my body get the most support necessary while I'm in a process of cleansing, so that when I ease off the fast, like I'm clean enough that my body can work optimally with just the fruits, you know. And so I don't want my body to be used to like eating food while taking herbs, I suppose. I want to get the most out of them. That's
that makes sense.
kind of in my mind. What kind of juices were you drinking? Fruit or vegetable?
Me, I was also similar to Hyatt's kind of drinks. I was doing a lot of juices.
Yeah.
For the first, I swear, until 40 days.
Yeah.
And like
A
introducing
lot
greens,
of fruit? Yeah.
a lot of fruit. So I was doing a lot of cantaloupe, honeydew,
Yeah.
and I was doing sometimes even doing mango and pineapple juices, and
Yeah.
a lot of orange juice because that's a
Yeah.
simple juice. Orange
Yeah.
juice is like the best. And then like if I did maybe, I don't know, maybe a little bit of green or carrots and like a lot of apples. So I would eat fruit. And I was trying
Totally.
to work my way into greens.
Towards the
So
end,
like my
yeah.
first green was spirulina powder.
Yeah.
And I would drink that with like honeydew melon juice or cantaloupe juice. It was so good.
Yeah.
That was maybe like after a few weeks. But
Yeah.
then it was after day 40 where I started introducing, okay, a little bit of spinach. Because I tried green juices at the beginning and it would be good. But then the next couple days I couldn't handle it anymore.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
but then after day 40 I got more and more, 50, day 60. Day 70 I started enjoying the green juices.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then day
I feel
80
that.
I was just like making these beet juices and green juices and like drinking it like it's nothing. And then after my juice fast, I kept juicing for like months every day because it's
Yeah.
just a habit and it's just so good.
Yeah.
So I was like drinking more vegetables after my juice fast than during my juice fast because I just
Yeah.
built a tolerance, I guess, to it, and my
Totally.
body just like
It feels good.
enjoys it.
Yeah.
And I feel like because now I'm so clean, at least in my digestive tract, that like that gives me like great nutrients, like I absorb it better
Yeah, definitely.
and all that. So like I love it. I could drink straight up celery juice now, where back
Oh,
in the days
man.
I would need to like
That's the
water it
best.
down with apples.
Straight up celery,
Straight
so
up
good.
celery juice, yeah. You
So
drink
good,
one
man.
head of celery and
Yeah.
like, oh, I should have did 2 at least.
Yeah, no. I do a liter every morning, man. It's
Nice.
so
Awesome.
good, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do vegetables until day 60. It was 100% fruit until day 60.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I started doing celery and then sprout juice. And I had a giant sprout garden in my backyard, and I started drinking a liter of sprout juice a day.
Okay,
So
I was gonna say,
pretty
because
much my
sprouts like
vegetables.
you get so little juice.
You get like I would fill up like a bowl this big,
and
and it would make a liter.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was, you know, it was good. I don't know. It's like fruits are just so much more cleansing. I feel like I always hear like in mainstream society talks about green juices being so powerful and things like that. You know, and I understand that they're very building and mineral rich and things, but in terms of detoxification, I've always felt that the fruits are a lot more astringent and cooling on the lymph and just the whole body in general. So I was doing lots of lemon and grape and watermelon the entire time.
Well, that's what John Rose actually always says. He says that the fruit are the cleansers and
Yeah.
the vegetables are the builders.
Builders,
Yeah.
yeah.
So he says the
Heard that too.
vegetables are important for you to build, like if you want to build muscle or if you
Yeah.
want to have more energy. So I feel like the fruit, that's why I was kind of like, even my blood work was not the best. I was showing low red blood cells and things like this, but I
Yeah.
was checking my blood regularly. And I was like, I think it's just because I'm drinking so much fruit, I
Yeah.
probably need more vegetables, but I didn't care because I was like, I don't care, like I'm focusing on the cleansing, I'll build later.
Yeah.
So I didn't really care, you know? Like you said, yeah, the fruit definitely are the cleansers.
Cool. I have a question for you, Hyatt, and then for everyone. But I'll ask you first. So, like, of all like the detoxification I experienced during my fasting, and then just throughout my life, it's continually pulled me into a more sensitive state.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of my body. So maybe foods I used to be able to eat very regularly, large quantities of, if I try and go back to them, I'm more aware of how they're actually affecting my body because they don't feel good. I'm more aware of the mucus they produce and all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not perfect by any means, so
Yeah.
like post-fast, I have gone back to those foods,
Yeah.
you know? And there's certain ones in particular, but I'll ask you, have you experienced anything similar with developing sensitivities?
Yeah.
And then maybe like having to learn the hard way, you know, when reintroducing those foods again.
Definitely. Yeah, so let's see. Before I went on the juice fast, I was not really eating like hardly any avocado. I was eating pretty much all sweet, juicy fruit for the past couple of months before I went on the juice fast, but before then I was eating a lot of avocado and like salsa. That was kind of my big like addiction that I was trying to get over. That was what I went to nearly every night.
Yeah.
And then after the fast, it's crazy because after every type of fast that I've done, whenever I reintroduce solid food, it's like something happens where I get huge cravings. Or
Well, you know what they say, that like fasting is easy. Any man can fast, but breaking a fast is hard. It requires a lot more, you know,
so
from a person.
it's crazy. Like after every fast, I think I've done something good, and then it's like I feel like I just totally screwed up right afterwards. But anyways, so the day after my 14-day cleanse, I had half an avocado with just like this, just a small amount of salsa with it, and that night my throat, like the inside of my throat was totally swollen and like in a lot of pain, and the next day, and I was coughing up mucus and blowing my nose for like the next 3 or 4 days at least, just from it's crazy. And then and even after that, the next 2 nights I still had half an avocado, because it's like I don't know, once you get it into you, even when you're in pain, it's like it's crazy.
You want it.
So I was after I did that, I was totally like had a ton of mucus in me for like over a week. So like super bad reactions that would never have happened if I wasn't so clean and sensitive to it.
Right. Yeah, I have similar experiences, and, you know, I'm always thinking like, why, like how am I becoming more sensitive? You know, what's causing this, and like where are these reactions stemming from in general? And it's usually foods like avocado, and then maybe like salt. Oh gosh, that was a bug. I'm sorry. But you know, it's like when you go on the cleansing, it's like you're like stripping all this hardened, built up mucus out of your body. It's like, how did that mucus get there in the first place? It was sort of like protecting you from those foods, those acidic forming foods you were eating, you know?
Definitely.
So then you go back, you don't have that protective layer, and your body's like, whoa, you know?
True.
Yeah.
Funny, the avocado, that's like my weakness.
Avocado, and
it's
you know, it's
crazy.
like different people in the raw foods movement will say different things about avocado.
Right.
Some people will like glorify them, love them, you know, and it's like I'm I don't wish I could because that's not real for me.
Yeah.
But in somewhere I wish I could because they taste so good, and they're dense and satiating, you know. But that's just not my experience in terms of them making me feel good.
Yeah, same here.
Like
I don't know. Personally, I feel like I'm still like in the middle. I haven't put a judgment on avocado
Yeah,
yet. I'm
yeah.
trying to like figure it out.
Totally.
And I feel like maybe it could also be different for someone who's clean and for someone who's not.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's
And
the
I feel
thing.
like it's kind of like, I don't know, like because I would always have different food binges, cooked food binges back in the days.
Yeah.
Now that I'm clean and keeping it raw,
Yeah.
I binge with avocados and non-sweet
Right.
fruit,
Right.
and even like sauerkraut and pickles, things like that.
Exactly. Yeah. I
So,
I feel that. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like avocados like make a whole video on that
Yeah,
topic.
yeah, totally. You know, it's like there's a good camp of people, that will say it's mucus forming in general. You know, but then it's like also you hear things about like functions of certain organs that are required to process the fats. You know, and just like overall being able to digest those sorts of things. Like you said, your reaction was like kind of a swollen throat.
Yeah.
You know, that makes me think of times where I've eaten, like gone back to avocados or fatty foods, and like maybe eaten them late at night, or like, you know, just combination of things creating a not perfect experience in terms of
Yeah.
digestion of those things. And like swollen throat is one of those things. And like when I've tuned into it, I've kind of like, it makes me feel like my glandular system, you know, like my thyroid and
For
stuff.
sure.
And like I can feel those things like flaring up with inflammation. And I wonder if that has to do with how my other organs are functioning in general, you know. But overall, like, you know, I want to kind of touch on really quickly what you had said, Hyatt, about like, it's like hard to break a fast. And then you ate the avocado, it made you feel bad, really bad that first
Yeah.
night, but then you go back to it the following days, you know. So do you think that, you know, like I'm wondering, like, is that an emotional choice it's coming from? Like, are you eating the avocado because you think it's healthy for you, or that you need the fats?
No,
Or no?
definitely not. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's really crazy. I think just because of the way most of us have grown up eating
Yeah.
our whole life, and
Yeah.
you know, wanting that satiating, dense feeling, like we confuse, you know, being full and, you know, hunger with like true, I guess, satiation. Like we almost feel like we gotta be bloated and like we gotta have this big, you know, thing in our stomach, like weighing us down before
Right.
we can stop eating.
Right.
And so I think that you know, just stuff like that, that's really been wired into us for so long.
Yeah.
Really is a big part of that. And yeah, and it's not something that I even want. I know consciously that while I'm eating the avocado, you know, I know it's not going to be good for me, and I know I'm going to regret it.
Yeah.
And it's so
Yeah.
crazy how we just, yeah, it's like we lose all common sense when it just kind of like, it's funny, like, you know, your mind will start coming up with these things
Yeah.
that'll convince you to eat it, and then
Totally.
afterwards you're just like, why'd I do it?
See, for me, I feel like because I'm so like focused on juicing to break my fast every day, I'd rather juice for my breakfast,
Yeah.
or even lunch sometimes.
Uh-huh.
And then like by the time I eat, it's kind of late, and then I feel like I don't probably eat as many calories as my body requires.
Yeah,
so then by
totally.
the time the evening comes,
Totally.
I think that's why I'm like, all right, I'll eat 4 avocados. 'Cause I'm kind of making up the calories,
Yeah,
and it's a way
I
to keep
understand
raw.
that. Totally.
You know,
Yeah.
Do you feel good doing that?
I feel like it's a hit and miss. Sometimes I
It's a
feel
hit or
good.
miss? Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, oh, I feel good. Like those avocados didn't affect me.
Yeah.
Like coming to the Woodstock Fruit Festival,
Yeah.
it was like noon, and I had to eat all these avocados, like 4, and like some salsa dip, and like before I crossed the border, because I didn't want to bring it with me. And that was
Yeah.
the first time I ate it so early in the day, and I was feeling really good. But I'm also like around this amazing energy,
Yeah,
so
that's
you know.
true.
But then there's other days I'll have a bunch of avocados, and then the next day I feel sluggish. My bowels, I feel like, are not moving at all for like a couple days. So I don't know. I feel like it's a hit and miss. I'm like, I don't know if it's like maybe if I get ripe avocados, it's different than like
Mhm.
not the best avocados.
Yeah,
That's why I don't know. I'm confused about the avocado.
there's probably a lot of different factors, and that's why, like, I'm kind of asking this question because I don't want to, like you said, I don't want to judge avocados. I don't want to demonize avocados whatsoever. They grow on a tree. They're, you know, like a fruit bearing seed that we can like utilize and like understand. It's like it's a neutral thing, you know. What I want to judge, if I'm going to judge anything, is my own decisions, my own choices. So like, I have had that same experience of hit and miss. Like sometimes I can feel all right, sometimes I feel really bad, you know. But one thing I do know is that like if I'm very clean, or and I've been clean for a minute, and I go to the avocado, I feel bad, you know. And the more I keep eating the avocado, you know, I start to like it starts to become okay. I start to feel better with it within me. But that leads me to the first choice of like I'm trying to understand in my world, like if I go to cook food, it's a very emotional choice for me. Like that's not trying to do it for health or anything like that. So like I'm trying to judge, like, am I making this choice because I think it's gonna aid and serve my body in general, or am I making this choice for emotional reasons and trying to like distract myself from dealing with things that are coming up and having to be worked through? Because just as much as like we're cleaning the physical body out, like you're getting into the emotional self and you're having to work there as well.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, for me it's a little bit of both, because like there's some programming where it's like I don't have enough calories today, and like this avocado could serve me because it's dense in calories and fat and protein and like all that kind of thing. That's somewhere down there, but like I feel like at the root it is kind of an emotional choice, because my experiences have led me to make up my mind that like I probably wouldn't ever have to eat avocado if I didn't want to, you know?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't serve a role really for me that other fruits can't.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's something beyond just like nutrition, like, because I feel like I don't need avocado at this point in my life. I just want to do like mono fruits, water rich, sweet fruits.
Yeah, man.
That's all I need in my next levels of cleansing, but it's just like the avocado, just somehow I always get pulled back to it.
Yeah.
So that's why like maybe it's not evil in the long run, but
Right.
at this point in my life I don't need it.
Right.
I need to cleanse, and if avocado is not helping cleanse the mucus, I don't feel like. If
Right.
anything, it just blocks it.
Totally.
Yeah, I definitely see a trend in the levels of detoxification that seem very clear to me in most individuals. And you know, just the cleaner it seems that we eat, the lighter we eat, you know, everything that we do to help raise our vibration and you know, detoxify.
Right.
It's like you can tell that, you know, there's just certain things that have to go to reach the next level, and to me it's been pretty clear to see that and experience it for myself, especially you know, and others that I feel like are just the most healthy, glowing people that I know. You know, they all say the same thing to me, so that's been my experience. And
you were saying, like, you were talking about the levels to detoxification.
Yeah, as far as like, you know, maybe denser foods.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you were also talking about mucus, you know, and trying to cleanse the mucus, and those two concepts kind of came together for me in resonating with my experience in terms of like take the levels of detoxification and directly relate them to the body, and like the order that things get detoxified within the body. When I was doing my juice cleansing and just throughout my journey eating fruit for the past 3 years, you know, like I feel like I'm still just barely on the surface, because I'm still detoxing mucus directly from my lungs and my sinuses, so my ability to breathe, you know. And that's kind of like one of the first things I noticed, that like once stuff starts dumping into my colon and my colon can evacuate because I'm not eating food, or I'm eating just fruit that eliminates clearly and isn't creating more mucus, then the next thing to happen is, boom, I get the, almost a healing reaction type thing, where it's the cold and flu type symptoms, where my nose is dripping and draining and running, and maybe some stuff coming out of my lungs. And so like I'm wondering like if y'all have a similar experience in terms of like having things detoxify like that, or if you felt like, is there an order to detoxification, how it happens in the body, or where the body decides to cleanse first. I know I've heard like John Rose say like something like the body detoxifies from the head down as you start to cleanse like that, and like that's an experience I have had, because the first thing that the first kind of reactions I get is straight out the nose,
Yeah,
mucus cleaning from the head.
That's definitely probably the first thing I notice. Like, say when I eat avocado or cooked food as well, it's like nearly instantly I've got to go blow my nose. All that mucus just forms.
Totally.
And,
Totally.
But,
And so that's an example of being clean, eating a mucus forming food, and then instantly your body wants to get rid of that mucus.
Exactly.
So for some people, they don't get a runny nose when they eat avocado. That just might be because their body's not functioning as well, and it's not instantly putting them into detox mode when they eat a mucus forming food.
It's kind of like your body, your body's got to use its energy in the best places that it can, wherever you're at. Use the most effort. So maybe if you're like, for someone who's really clean and you're functioning properly, and then all of a sudden, maybe something goes into your body that's not supposed to be there, it's like right away, it's the body's on it. But then, if you're somebody who's, eating a lot of cooked food, things like that, your body is constantly trying to get rid of everything you're stuffing into it all the time.
Makes sense.
It's trying to protect the most important vital organs, stuff like that, where it's, I believe that it's got, sort of parts of the body that aren't necessarily as important as trying to detox all the things that are keeping you alive right now.
Right. True.
So,
True.
So it's got to focus on, doing the best that it can, putting its energy in the most efficient place. And so it's hard to really get an instant detox reaction when, your body just is focused on so much.
Totally.
See, that's what I find very interesting about the mucus and the lungs and the sinuses, because in my journey, I want to cleanse that, because I've been plugged up since I was like 13 years old. I got some bronchital like sickness kind of thing for a few days. And then when I got healthier, like my cold was still there, it wasn't going away. I was like, oh, this is the longest cold I ever had. And like here I am like 20 years later.
Years later. Yeah, man,
still have it. And I like, that's what I find interesting, that you said that that's the first thing that came for you during the juice fast. Because I feel like I cleanse my colon like squeaky clean, my digestive tract, but here I'm still like plugged up. I can't breathe properly, especially through like one of my nostrils. So I feel like maybe it's because during my juice fast I was still smoking herb. That was like my one like weakness. I put away everything, alcohol, coffee, cooked food, or food in general. But like I was still smoking herbs, so I'm wondering if that kind of blocked my sinuses. So in the going forward in my journey, I want to focus on that area, the lungs and the sinuses. And I know like smoking is like part of my old self that I think I'm subconsciously like still clinging to. But I don't need it in this health journey, because I feel so good. Like here, I don't even think about smoking herb, because we're just eating fruit and there's all these amazing people. I feel normal. I'm not like, why are you eating those peaches, man? Like, it's okay, like, whatever.
So it's that's interesting, because it's probably like it might not even be related to your health in general. I mean, I guess it is, because everything is connected. But like, when you're with all these amazing people, you don't even think about smoking. So it's probably more of like a need that's more based around like interaction and like fulfillment in general with people and what you're doing around you. That's what I've experienced, like in my experience with smoking. Is that once I like meet those needs of connection, I'm not looking to like maybe try and like have a deeper level of connection with myself through smoking the weed in that current moment.
To me, it's kind of like when you're around people like this and you're living life the way you're supposed to be living and eating, the right way. It's kind of like a lot of people, I don't know, because I've smoked weed, but I've never been big into it. But it just seems like when you're not really doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you're kind of still got a lot of detoxing to do, and all these things are affecting your hormones and the way you think and all that. You feel like you want to, and our society and all that, and you feel like you want to maybe escape that, but then once you're at places like this Woodstock Fruit Festival and all these people, and it's like you're already so high just off of the human energy and the fruit and stuff. To me, it would be like smoking would almost make me feel lower.
Yeah.
Instead
That's
of,
what I feel too.
Yeah, totally. I understand that.
Because last year at this festival, I was not thinking about it, same thing like now, with amazing friends, and at the bonfire, I smelt it. I don't want to like bait out anyone, but I smelt it, and I was just like, oh, like I don't even feel like going there. Like, like you said, I feel like that will bring me down from the level that I'm at right now.
That's
what
cool.
I mean?
That's cool. Yeah.
That's why I'm trying to like build this community,
Yeah. And like, we have similar experiences in that, like, I used to not be able to breathe out of one nostril for my entire life, like had asthma and like used steroid injections up my nose my whole life. And, like during my detox process, like I was having like just infinite amount of mucus come out of my sinuses. So I was like, how big are our sinuses?
Yeah.
And they're giant. They're huge, And like, there was like, straight up, I feel like putrefied, like dead tissue mixed with mucus coming out of my gums, leaking out of my teeth, from my sinuses. And like, it definitely like, is like a worthwhile goal to have, to try and cleanse the sinuses and do what it takes
my only goal
to get there. Because I mean, like it's life changing to have clear
it's the breath,
sinuses.
right? You
it's
can
the
breathe.
breath. You can breathe, and like
It's the source of life.
It's so crazy. You go like, for me, I went my whole life thinking I was breathing normally, and then just after getting clean, and actually, it's crazy to think about that breathing is so effortless now. When before it was just like always stuffy or runny or something.
Shallow breath maybe?
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So to be able to actually breathe consistently and like pretty much never get that as long as I'm eating clean.
Yeah.
For that.
Game changer, man. Game changer. Because like you detoxify so much through your breath, and like,
that's true. And
also just like I need to be grateful even more for my breath, because I like take it for granted sometimes, that like I just can take a deep breath whenever, and it's like, it's so amazing. It's like it leveled up so many aspects of my life in terms of meditating and just all sorts of things, yoga and everything.
I went to Dr. Sam class yesterday, and he says he's got a timer on his phone, that goes off, and it says how you breathe is how you live, like every day at certain times, and I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, I have to like consciously take deep breaths, otherwise I just breathe shallow all day.
Yeah, that was one thing too during juicing, was that I would be a lot more aware that I should take deep breaths more often, and I would enter into these zones where like I would just be really consciously breathing for like before that, maybe like 5 minutes a day I was consciously breathing. And then during the juicing, it could be up to 2 hours a day that I would like find myself like every few minutes like wanting to breathe. And it's just like the less obstruction you have in your body in general, whether it be food that's digesting or mucus in your sinuses, the less obstruction you have, the easier it is to breathe. And like the more aware I become when I'm not breathing, because it's like my breath moves into those spaces that used to have obstruction there and fill them with life.
Yeah, for real. I mean, people don't realize it, but I mean, we don't just breathe with, the lungs. I mean, we breathe with our whole body.
Exactly.
And it's like people just are, such shallow breathing, and they just like barely fill it up. But, you want to really fill up the whole, diaphragm, and then, the chest get the lungs, and then it just expands out through the whole body. It's like, just breathing with your whole entire body.
Totally.
And I totally feel that connection too. I feel like when I'm stuffed, I can feel, because I have digestive issues, and I can feel food passing through my colon. It gets uncomfortable. I'm trying to fix it. But then like
Yeah.
when it clears, I
Yeah.
feel like I could take deeper breaths. Like I could feel how it's like
Yeah.
if I feel like it's all pipes. Like my colon is a pipe all the way connected to like my lungs somehow.
Yeah.
And that like if the pipes are clear,
Uh-huh.
then air flows through them just
Yeah.
better, and I
Yeah,
totally
yeah.
feel it.
Totally.
And when I'm stuffed up with food, I can't breathe as well.
Yeah, you know,
that's true.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff on that topic. They say
Yeah.
the colon is the third lung, and like
They say
there's
that.
exercises
So it's not just
in,
my insight.
in the Vedas and all sorts of scriptures where it's like butthole breathing, where you're breathing through your rectum into the colon, you know? So all sorts of stuff like that you can go deep into, where it's like, you know, like even through, you're breathing through the pores of your skin, and it's like the whole body is porous, you know?
Yeah.
So like when you get the obstructions clear and you can get those like membranes to be thin and allow stuff to travel through them, like, you know, things are able to, you know, just move and transpire and all sorts of crazy different things, you know? So like,
Yeah, I feel that.
yeah.
Things move, like you breathe better, you
Yeah.
feel like looser, you get like,
yeah.
I feel like my tension releases.
Sure.
I feel like everything's just like so connected in the body.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just pinpoint one thing.
No.
It's like when one thing clears up, like everything kind of clears up.
Yeah.
And it even attaches to emotions.
Yeah.
I feel like emotions is a big part of my cleansing, because I had this one experience where I was just kind of crying, releasing all this emotion, and kind of feeling overwhelmed with love by the community in Austin, Texas. And I was just like, as I was crying, I was releasing mucus, and I also felt like I was releasing tension, getting loose in my body.
Yeah, man.
And I just felt like it's all one, just all like a big release.
Totally.
And I was like, wow, emotions have an effect on the body too.
Yeah. For me, I've come to the conclusion, my own experience, that like emotion is the root of like
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
the other things that
Maybe
gives
that's
rise
what's
to
keeping me
those.
congested.
Exactly.
And I guarantee you that's what's keeping you congested. You know, I wasn't raised with the emotional tools and spectrum that I'm starting to learn. Like I'm just now getting
Me
into
too.
learning how to directly work with the emotional realm. But like, because I have such a scientific mind and like I'm like very rational, like I'm able to work through the physical with fasting and like cleansing my body and get to the emotional through the physical,
Right.
you know?
It's totally all interconnected, and you can go about it like any way, and each one's gonna help the other.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's all just one thing. Yeah, definitely. And a lot of those emotions, they do get stored in the body. You know, that like these things get stored in the the endocrine system, the chakras, and all of that, and that's
all
like,
your fascia.
totally. I mean,
I feel it's like my throat chakra and the chakras in this whole area are just like blocked. It's probably because my whole life I just kind of held back emotion.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
the same here.
exactly.
Life,
And
I
yeah,
just
I've
kind of
had,
like suppressed them, you know.
Totally.
Definitely, that was the biggest thing for me to work on. My thyroid, my throat chakra
Yeah, man.
was totally closed like my whole life. And then fruit, and then the whole Austin community with the circling and the authentic relating.
Oh, that'll do
totally
it.
changed my life. I feel like such a fearless,
Ecstatic
open
dance.
communicator. And it's totally helped with my thyroid issues and stuff like that.
Awesome.
So it's crazy.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I mean, just touching on a little like anecdote for the whole like spiritual, emotional kind of side of things. Like, I know people that have literally like had like Hashimoto's disease or certain thyroid issues where they get their thyroid cut out, and the thyroid produces things that your body needs. So they have to take medicine, you know, hormone replacement therapy, you know, pharmaceutical pills to replace their hormones. These people go on fasts, you know, really intense fasts, dry fasting and juice fasting, and getting down to their emotional core, you know, working through these emotional things. And after their fasts, or even during their fasts, they can put away the pills, and their body can produce the hormones that only the thyroid produces without a physical thyroid, you know?
way.
So it's like, well, where's that? What's happening there, you know? And it's like these people, they in their fast, they go and get tested, you know, for those hormones and for their thyroid function, and it's perfect, and they don't have a physical thyroid.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
The body is amazing.
Yeah. Well, it's been a
feel like it's been 3 hours.
It's just like we could talk forever,
Yeah, we
you
can
know,
just
about
go.
all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
But I feel like I touched on everything I wanted to.
Yeah, I feel, yeah.
Me too. Maybe like we could sum up saying kind of like each of us can say what our next steps are in our
Oh,
healing
yeah,
journey,
totally.
and
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
Totally.
just like a short.
And maybe like we could just give like a quick little message if you feel like it, you know, like
Cool.
whatever you want to say
Cool.
to somebody.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, I feel blessed to be able to speak and introduce myself to these two beautiful humans and all of their followers on YouTube. And I'm just like on the path to really, you know, loving more and more and more just mono meals of juicy sweet fruit. Like it's I get physically and mentally disappointed when I don't get a mono meal where I can eat one type of sweet juicy fruit until I'm full, and then not have to eat again for a few hours, you know.
Yeah.
Like that's like where I'm really going towards in terms of like eating, because I want that to just be like my like solid ground of like if I'm putting solid food in my mouth and chewing it, like that's what I want to be standing on.
Yeah.
You know, and then like I'm always loving and getting deeper into just like fasting in general, and just like pushing into dry fasting, drinking juice, you know, when I feel like it, like go a couple days on juice, you know, all that sorts of stuff. But definitely just like feeling best and really grounded in the mono meals.
Alright, so whatever he just said, I have the exact same
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
That's exactly like the next thing. I feel like this past few months, with all the troubles that I have with avocados and all that, like the best I feel is when I'm eating just like peaches. Like I was eating just peaches for 2 days, and like my bowels, I went to the bathroom 5 times, and I just felt like so light and energetic.
Awesome.
I was like
Yeah.
happy going to work. I didn't care if I had to work hard or whatever. So I just want to focus on mono fruit, but especially the fruit, kind of like peaches right now, fruit that's in season.
In season.
And local is if I can do that. Like in Toronto right now it's peaches, and that's when I feel best. And then I also want to just keep doing the juices. So even if I do mono fruits, I still
Yeah.
want to start my day with juices, because I just feel like it's a good nutrient kick. And in the winter, in November, I want to do a 30-day juice fast again.
Awesome.
And yeah, I also feel blessed to be with these two guys here. I feel like they're my brothers. And it's just amazing to be here at Woodstock, and you just got to be here yourself to experience it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you guys so much. This has been awesome. And yeah, just so much gratitude here. So much peace and love at the Fruit Festival. And yeah, definitely Mick's been helping me stay on track with the mono meals, because
That's all I want.
Yeah, I see his bowl and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I gotta step it up.
That's
And,
tricky at Woodstock.
Yeah,
It can
it
be,
is. That's
why
why.
There's so
I
much
would-
abundance. And
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
it's like yeah, so much stuff. You want to try it,
Yeah.
but yeah, but I always, every time I do mix it up, I'm like, I should have just ate a mono meal. I would not have missed out. I would have felt even better
Yeah.
if I had just stuck to one fruit. So that's
Right
where
on.
you know, I'm trying to stick with that. Yeah, and then I just want to thank you guys for sticking with us this long, and you know, just hearing from us. I love both of these guys. They are amazing, and yeah, I'm super grateful for this.
Awesome.
So
Thanks, guys.
thank you so much.